Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Todges, and joining me today, Lillie Nordmann. Lillie, how's it going?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. We just caught up a little bit. You're at home. So where is Magnolia? Is it in Magnolia, Texas? Is that is that even a town? Okay.
Yeah, it's like near Houston, kind of a little far away from there.
Houston area.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had practice this morning. You guys are able to swim right now.
Yes. So we are able to swim. We have doubles twice a week, actually. So we were out of the water, though, for about 2.5 months. So from mid-March to about mid-May. And then we started up at like a local pool because our pool wasn't open yet. And we were just doing like an hour a day for like 4 times a week. But now we've definitely started to pick back up in our training.
Nice. And so was there a period where you were focusing on activities outside of the pool, where you were doing dry land? Are you one of the swimmers who can run, or were you doing bike stuff? How are you staying fit?
Yeah, so I actually have a Peloton, and so I found that really helpful. It was definitely really hard at first, but I found that with practice, I got much better at it. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I thought it really translated well into my swimming too. And it's also really fun because I am friends on Peloton with a bunch of my friends from across the country that I met on trips. And there's this cool feature where you can even FaceTime them like after you're done with the ride. So it was really cool.
Nice. Yeah. So that sounds like a pretty good substitute for swim practice. I've heard biking can translate really well into swimming. Since you've been in the water, how do you feel that it has translated?
I feel like it's helped my kick a whole lot. I've been able to tell in our kicking sets that we've done, even just like with my underwaters too. I feel like it's helped a lot.
Yeah, we've been seeing reports of swimmers across the country, across the globe, getting back in and throwing down some monster times. Inter squads, time trials, or even just in practices. When you first got back in, did it take a while to get back into the swing of things? Were you surprised at oh, I actually feel pretty good? What was it like getting back in?
Yeah, it was definitely a struggle at first for me. I remember the first couple of weeks, my heart rate was like 170 during warm up. But I think I've definitely been able to like get back into it at least these past couple of weeks. Like we've been doing sets where we've done like a 200 fly and I pushed a 159. So like I've been able to get back into it pretty good recently. So
that seems pretty stout for just getting back into it. Are your sisters in the same boat? Is Lucy home? Lucy, right? That's your older sister. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Is she home from Stanford? And then you guys have how many siblings do you have? There's a younger one too, right?
There's 4 of us, 2 younger ones.
Okay.
Yeah, Mary and Zoe. So we all swim, but Lucy's been home since March. So that's been fun just to have her back and have the whole family back together, family environment. But yeah, we've all been training together, which has been fun. But definitely, yeah, during quarantine, like we have a backyard pool. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. So I was able to swim in my backyard pool during like March to May, but it was interesting because we had to kind of figure out who was going to swim when in backyard pool. But yeah, we're all back in the water now. So.
How big is the backyard pool?
Probably like 12 yards.
Okay.
Yeah, we had like cords and stuff, so I was able to get some resistance in there, but it was just not the same.
Yeah, I mean, understandable. And so how old are Mary and Zoe?
Mary is going to be a sophomore, and she is, 15. And
Mhm.
then Zoe's going to be a freshman in high school, and she just turned she just turned 14.
So you guys are pretty close in
Yeah.
age.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is it a big, or do you guys swim in the same group?
Yeah, so Zoe just got moved up into like the national group.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been fun. She actually just recently broke her ankle though. So she's kind of been like swimming sidelines, but it's been fun to swim together. Yeah.
I think all swimmers who swim with their siblings, no true sibling rivalry. When you guys practice together every day, tell me about the dynamic between you three, you four sisters who have been swimming together for a long time. I mean, does it get really competitive, or is it or do you guys swim on separate sides of the pool? What's the practice dynamic like for you?
Yeah, so we're definitely pretty competitive, but it's super friendly. Whenever Lucy was still like at home and in high school, we would definitely not go in the same lane, but we would race each other. And honestly, she's probably one of my biggest role models in the sport. Like ever since I was younger, I always looked up to her, and she kind of made me realize that like I could go and compete for Team USA. Like I remember seeing her go to Maui and swim at Junior Pan Packs, and I was like, oh, hey, like, I want to do that too. And so she's just really been a great role model for me. And then Mary, the third child, she just keeps things really light, and she's a social butterfly. So she's always like smiling and laughing at practice. So she keeps things light, and same with Zoe too. So it's a good dynamic.
Nice. Let's get into that Team USA trip. Um, So that started with nationals last summer, right?
Like Junior Pan Packs or
Oh, I'm sorry. What have you traveled with Team USA for a summer meet?
Yeah, so the first meet I qualified for was Junior Pan Packs in 2018, and that was to
Okay.
Fiji. And then I swam at the Mare Nostrum Tour, which was in the summer of 2019 in like
Okay.
June. And
Mm-hmm.
then I swam in Budapest as well.
Okay. Oh, so we've got so much to talk about. So let's start with seeing your sister swim at a junior Pan Pac meet. Again, let's get in depth a little more. What was that like for you? Realizing, oh, hey, maybe I could do that too.
Yeah. Like I think growing up I didn't even know that was a thing really. And so when I saw Lucy competing at those big meets, it was just such a big motivation. And I like put a little sign on my ceiling above my bed, and I like would look at it every night before I went to bed, and it just really helped me stay motivated throughout the year. And so yeah, just seeing her and like having fun too, like on the last day with all the Team USA, like just the excursions they have, like it was just something that I really wanted to do and to compete for Team USA.
Yeah. What was the first meet you saw her, like, I guess, big junior meet you saw her compete at?
I guess 2016, summer 2016 at Minneapolis, I think it was. And I remember I was trying to get my cut for that meet, but I didn't get it because I had broken my wrist earlier that summer, so that kind of was a little setback. And also just trials as well. Like I remember her swimming at that meet, and I was also a little bummed because I didn't make my cut because we actually had we were in a car accident in December of 2015, and
Okay.
I broke my left collarbone, and I had to get 70 stitches, and so I was out of the water.
70 stitches.
Yeah,
Oh
70.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
All in your cheek.
yeah, you can't really see it anymore, but it gives me like a fake dimple, so it's you know.
Well, I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough time though. I remember like I was out of the water for 10 days because of the stitches. And then I was kicking for like 2 months almost. And I remember my coach at the time, Scott McFarland, he was like, "Oh yeah, we'll just go to NCSAs and we'll just see how you do." Like my first meet back, and I had never been to NCSAs before, so I was so nervous. And
And at
yeah,
the
it
time,
was.
were you a freshman, sophomore at this time?
I was in 8th grade. I was
Oh, okay.
13.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was definitely tough just because I missed that whole block of Christmas, the winter training.
Hmm.
So it was hard to like just kind of focus on what I could focus on, control what I could control. And when I got back in, just trying to do the best that I could with what I had.
Did I think, there's some people who like kicking more than others. Kicking for 2 months sounds like purgatory. It doesn't sound very fun to me.
Yeah, there were definitely practices. Like my coach would just hook me up to the buckets and put so much water in there. And I remember like just kicking in one place. Like it was terrible.
Oh man. Yeah, that sounds rough. So okay, sorry. You go to NCSAs to how did that go?
I had fun. It was a good experience, but I mean, I don't think I finaled in anything. It was just a good experience for me.
Okay, so sorry, so we got a little off topic. Trials. You saw your sister compete at trials.
Right. Yeah. Trials. So I remember being bummed about that because like I wasn't there and I really wanted to be there to support her and stuff, and just seeing her swim in the semifinals was so cool. And yeah, that just really made me so motivated to want to be like that.
And then seeing her go on to did she go to Junior Pan Packs in 2016? Right?
Mm-hmm, she did. Yeah.
What was there something that really stood out to you, not seeing her compete at that meet, but after she came home? I'm guessing she had stories from the meet, or things she told you. Was there one thing that stood out to you as like, kind of nailed that poster on your wall and really kept you motivated to have that experience as well?
Yeah, I think her just talking about the camaraderie between all the teammates, and like she even told me some of the cheers that they did, and then seeing like her Team USA practice suits, like that was just, it just lit a fire in me that I just really wanted that.
Yeah. So let's, before we get into your own junior team success, let's back up a little. When did you guys start swimming?
I started swimming around the age of 6. So my dad swam growing up, and he swam in college too. My mom played volleyball, but my dad really wanted us to swim. I remember like one year for Christmas, my mom bought us like a basketball hoop for our garage, and my dad like took it back to the store. He was like, "Nope." Um, so that's all I've done. I've only swam. And we started off just doing lessons, and then we joined the year-round team. And then ever since then, I've just loved it. I love the water. So yeah, and just being with my friends too. I just feel at home.
Yeah. It seems like it's been a good fit for you.
Yeah, yeah.
So when, before you saw your sister, go to a junior team meet, before that kind of opened your eyes and really lit a fire under you, as you had said, did you, I know what it's like to be a younger sibling. And did you feel like you were just kind of chasing whatever Lucy was doing?
Yeah, I think I would definitely look at her, and in my mind I would kind of compare myself sometimes and say, "Oh yeah, like going into her junior year, like she made junior Pan Packs, so like I really want to do that too." But at the same time, like I just really tried to focus on myself and just do the best that I could. Yeah.
In a similar vein, I think Lucy's good at a lot of different events, and I think you're good. I think you're also talented at a lot of different events. Would there be? Would you say you have a best stroke? Do you have a favorite event? Do you have a favorite event to race Lucy in?
I would say my best stroke is probably fly. Um, And probably my favorite race does hurt a lot, and people are probably going to think I'm crazy, but I love the two fly. Like, it's it's a love-hate relationship, but I like it. It's probably my favorite. And then racing Lucy, I don't know, probably two free. Yeah, probably two free. And I guess like we were saying earlier, because her senior year at high school state, she swam the two free, and like I had swam the 2 IM that year, I think, because my freshman year I swam two free, but then she was like, oh, I wanna swim it like my senior year, so I was like, all right, I'll let you have it. And so going into my senior year, I was like, oh, like Lucy, I kind of like was like, oh yeah, she went that. Like, let's see where I can go. But I mean, I didn't think about that when I was swimming, but it's just kind of fun to be competitive.
Definitely. And I will say this, I was a 200 butterflyer. Our other co-host and SwimSwam co-founder, Mel Stewart, was a 200 butterflyer. And we hold the opinion that all the best people are 200 butterflyers. So no judgment on our end. The 200 butterfly is where it's at. And if you don't know, then you don't know. But 200 fly is a great event to be great at, and it's a great event not to be great at, but just to swim anyway. So let's go to your first junior meet. So 2018 Junior Pan Pacs. Let's talk about first. You have to qualify, right?
Yeah.
At Summer Nationals 2018 in Irvine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I remember. Oh, sorry, you were gonna say something.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I remember going into that meet. I think I like put more pressure on myself, I think, for the two fly, which was the first day of the meet. And I remember, and I think I got like a best time or something in prelims. And then I remember going to the warm down pool and looking at the scoreboard because they had like the results, and it said Lillie Nordmann 8th place. And I was like, oh my gosh, I A finaled. But then like it switched to show like the B finalists, and then it also said 8th place. And I was like, oh no, I tied. So I had to do a swim off for the A final in the two fly, and I lost. So that was tough. And then so I swam it that night, and I don't think I actually qualified to make Junior Pan Pacs in the two fly, because I think Olivia Carter and Lindsay Looney were both in front of me. And so I was really, really sad. But I still had the 100 fly later in the meet. So I was like, all right, I just got to pick myself back up and keep going. So then I had the 100 fly later in the meet, and I qualified in that. So I was happy about that.
And I mean, after pinning it up on your wall, really putting in the work, what was the feeling like when Mitch comes over and hands you that envelope to really solidify, oh hey, you're on the team?
Yeah, it was such a great feeling, just knowing that all the hard work that I had put into the season really paid off, and everyone who helped me get there, like my coaches, my teammates, my family, like that it was all worth it. And then also the fact that Lucy was also going with me was just the cherry on top.
What event did Lucy make it in?
I think I know she qualified, I think, in the 100 free. And then Junior Pan Pacs, like, you can pick whatever events you want to swim. So she probably made it in, like, backstrokes too, I'm sure.
Okay. Gotcha. I want to add an addendum for everything, for all the positive things I said about the 200 fly. A 200 fly swim off, I don't think anyone's happy about that.
Yeah, it was tough. I remember seeing that, and I was like, okay, well, I have to do it. Like, and you train and practice, you do multiple 200s. So I was like, okay, it's just like a practice. Like, I can do this, but it was really rough.
What was the turnaround? How soon did you swim the second 200 fly?
It might have been like 2 hours later, I want to say, roughly.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty quick. 3 200 flies in one day. Yeah, that's not meant to be.
I think I was pretty consistent. I think I went like 210s in all of them. So, I mean, not bad.
Not bad. Yeah, that seems pretty decent. Wow, that's awesome. So then you make the junior pan pack team, which I couldn't believe when I remember seeing that this meet was going to be in Fiji, and it was just like, what? Like that seems like the coolest place to have a meet. Can you confirm that?
It was so cool. Fiji is just so beautiful. It's such a nice place, and all the people there are just so nice, and like they welcomed us, and it was so cool. And Fiji water is super cheap there too. So
The real cherry on top.
yeah.
That's awesome. So, like you mentioned, the really cool thing about junior pan packs or pan packs is that once you make the team in one event, you can swim 4 events at the meet, one each day. There's no limit, and if you are top two, you make a final, or if you're top two American, you make the A final, and then if you're the third fastest American out of prelims, you're the B final. So, what did you end up? What was your event lineup in Fiji?
So I swam the 2 fly and the 100 fly, and shoot, it's been so long. I think I also swam 100 free and like 50 free or something like that. Um, and I ended up A finaling in the 2 fly, and then I think I B finaled in the 100 fly. Um, but I remember just going into the meet, like one of my main goals was to medal, bring home a medal for the U.S., and I think I ended up getting fourth. And I remember specifically talking to Mitch on one of the bus rides, and we were just talking, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like what's your biggest fear or something like that?" And I told him, I was like, "Oh yeah, like making an A final and not medaling." And then that happened, and I was like, "Mitch, I'm never like I'm never talking to you again." No, but
This is your fault.
no, I'm just kidding. I love Mitch, but I was definitely disappointed. I think I just put too much pressure on myself. But that definitely motivated me, like for the next year leading up to Junior Worlds, for sure. And then yeah, I had 100 fly as well, which was fun. And then I think I was also on like a B relay or something. So yeah.
Uh, so you didn't meet the goal of medaling, but what did at the end of the meet, what did you walk away taking with you from that experience?
What I took away from Junior Pan Packs was it was my first international meet, so that was such a great experience to represent Team USA. And also I got to meet a bunch of my new like best friends, and just walking away with those relationships is really all I could ask for from that meet.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're able to get that first international experience under your belt. Did you notice a difference between, the summer leading up to that, and then you do get that meet experience, and then going into that next fall? Was that when Lucy went to college?
Yeah, that was when
Okay.
Lucy went to college.
So you went to this big meet for the first, for your first time in your career. You lose your older sister leaves. What was that following fall like for you, motivation wise?
Okay, so I remember that's when I had all of my recruiting trips. So it was kind of hectic. I was,
Okay.
traveling a lot.
Yeah.
But I think just the dynamic of kind of being the oldest in the household, like I was the leader now, and I really kind of enjoyed that. Like I got to step up and be the leader for all my younger sisters. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was sad to see her go though. I missed her a lot.
I I know. Yeah, losing a sibling can be pretty hard when they go far away, and you don't get to swim with them every day. But yeah, it also, you become the top dog, and it's a totally different experience. Um, so you go on all your college trips. You finally decide on Stanford. What went into that decision for you?
Yeah, so for me, choosing Stanford, I chose Stanford because of just the team. I felt like I really clicked with the team. They're such a hardworking group of girls, and I felt like I could grow and be challenged the most there. And also academically, they had so much to offer, and also the weather there is just amazing, and the campus is beautiful, and the coaches and the professors, just everything just clicked for me.
Yeah. That's that's a lot of reasons, and I can confirm that the weather there is pretty much second to none. So then you said your next junior trip was Mare Nostrum?
Correct, yes.
So the following summer, you head out to Europe, which I've never been to Mare Nostrum. I've heard it's pretty insanely gorgeous there. It's a three meet mini tour. What was your experience like there?
Yeah, so Mare Nostrum was amazing. It was a smaller team, so we really got to get to know each other better. And it was great. It really helped build my confidence going into that summer because Junior Worlds was in Europe, and European meets are very different than American meets. Like, the lanes are just a lot more hectic and warm up. Like, there's no set pace lane or dive lane. And then just getting used to like a set ready room, and just like the long flights to Europe, and just getting that experience, I think really helped me later in the summer.
Mm-hmm. What was a highlight? Were you able to compete well by your standards?
I didn't do as well as I wanted to maybe, but I wasn't rested or anything. It was more for the experience. But it was cool. I remember, I think I finaled like in the 2 fly or something. Actually, shoot, don't include that. No one needs to know that. Sorry. And then, sorry, what was the question again?
Just did you what was competition like? How did you feel about your performances?
Yeah, so the competition there was really fierce. I remember like Katinka Hosu was there, a lot of big names. Even like the men's Cal team was there, and like some of the Georgia guys were there. So there were definitely a lot of fast swimmers at the meets. So it was great to just race everyone and get the experience under my belt.
Yeah. What was like a highlight moment in or out of the pool during? So it's they're 2-day meets, and you go 2 days travel day, 2 days travel day, 2 days. Is that right?
Yeah, but we actually didn't go to the first stop. We just
Okay.
went to the last 2 stops.
Gotcha. So yeah, what was a highlight in or out of the pool of that trip?
I think for me, so the hotel we stayed at in France was just beautiful. It was right on the beach. And so we were able to like kind of explore the city a little bit before the meet had started. And then the meals that we had every day, oh my gosh, they were so amazing. And I remember the last night we were in France, they had this huge dessert buffet, like with crepes and like just anything you could ever imagine. So that was probably my favorite.
Tell me about the meals.
They were kind of exotic. Like they were really good though. Like I remember having like black rice, and just like they had quiche, and just like all of these different pastas, and like different types of like scallops, and it was just amazing.
Oh, man, my mouth is watering. That sounds great. And so then you're back in a similar place, 2019 Nationals, in Palo Alto, which is seriously like that and Irvine, two of the best pools in the country, in my opinion. And again, you're looking for a spot on that 2019 Junior Worlds team. Tell me about how that Nationals went for you.
Yeah, so going into nationals, I was definitely nervous just because there was a lot of competition in my events, but I really just tried to focus on myself and like what I could control, because like I don't have any control of what my competitors do. So just really focusing on myself, and just my race plan and just being confident in myself. Because I think in the past I've kind of struggled. I remember my first nationals. I definitely struggled with that in 2017. I just remember being like a little baby on the pool deck, being so scared. And so I really just tried to be confident in myself and trust my training and just execute like I had trained to do.
You mentioned the competition was pretty deep in your events, and I have I have the results from the two fly here, and that A final in which you got second. Reagan Smith was first at 2:07.2. Katie Draybot seventh, 2:08.5. So there was 1.3 seconds between first and seventh. Do you remember that race or anything about that A final?
Yeah, so when I was swimming it didn't feel like we were that bunched up, but I remember like looking back at the video and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we were all so like tightly together. Like how did I even like do that?" But I just remember trying to go out like smooth, just try to, like just hang in there the first 100 and then really try to attack that second 100 and especially the last 50. And I remember kind of trying to pull away a little bit the last 25 and just stick my head down and go.
Yeah. So after that race, you were very solidly on the junior team. What was the rest of the meet like, knowing that you had made that world's team?
Yeah, definitely a lot of pressure off my shoulders. I could kind of just enjoy myself a little more knowing that I had made the team, and just try to like turn my focus onto the other events I had, like the 2 free and the 100 fly.
So when all was said and done, you're heading to Budapest. What events did you end up swimming?
I swam on the 800 free relay and the 200 fly.
Okay. So yeah, again, tell me about Budapest. What was your experience like there?
It was amazing. I really had such a great time on that trip. And I know leading up to that summer, like I like to write goals on my mirror. And so one of the goals I had written was I wrote Buda Med / relay. And so what that meant was like, obviously Budapest, I want to go to Budapest and I want a medal, but that was kind of just my little code word. Cause I don't want to jinx anything. Right. And, I wanted to be on that 8. Like that was one of my biggest goals. And so I remember they put me on the, prelims relay. I led off, and so that was super fun. And then I qualified to swim at night, and I also led off, which was kind of scary. But just standing on top of the podium for the 8 free, like that was it was a really cool experience, being up there with my teammates and hearing the national anthem. And then same with the 2 fly. I remember it was a little rough because I was chosen to get drug tested from the 8 free relay, and then the next morning was the 2 fly. And I remember I love to drink water. Like I think that's my coping mechanism when I'm nervous. Like I just drink a ton of water. And so my pee was like too diluted for like I had to do 3 tests. And so
wow.
I was at the pool until like 11 p.m. and I had the 2 fly the next day, and I was like, all right, here we go. Like, let's just try to make finals. And so I think I qualified 4th going into finals. And then I ended up winning. So it all ended up okay, but it was definitely stressful during that. But just meeting, everyone on the team, like it was a younger team. And so it was definitely really cool to see everyone come together and swim really well.
So again, you kind of have that dynamic where, a meet ago, you are the younger sibling. You have your older sister there, and then you get to this meet, and it's a younger team, and you're one of the veterans at that point. What was that dynamic shift like? Kind of being a leader on that team.
Yeah. So, I was lucky enough to be one of the team captains. I was really honored. It was me, Gretchen Walsh, Maxine Parker, Carson Foster, and Luca. So it was really cool to lead Team USA and just kind of show people the way, and just be someone that anyone could lean on if they ever needed help or advice or just to calm their nerves. So it was really special.
Yeah. What was there one moment in particular where you were afterwards you're like, wow, I'm a really good captain?
I don't know. I think just I would say maybe one of the days I led a cheer. It was one of my favorite ones from Fiji, and it's where like we're all in a circle, and then like one person like shouts USA, and like it's kind of hard to explain, but just after that, I was like, it just kind of hit me. I was like, wow, like we're here, we're in Budapest, like let's go, like let's do this.
Yeah. And so let's recap that two fly for me a little bit more. Let's go in depth on that day. Again, you're at the pool till 11 p.m. getting drug tested. Next morning, you're behind the blocks for prelims. You're just kind of like, okay, let's make finals. How did that prelims race go?
Yeah, so that morning when I was warming up, I definitely did not feel very good. So I was kind of just like, okay, like I just need to qualify, and I don't even really remember what I went, but it just mattered that I qualified. I think like it wasn't one of those where you're like really struggling at the end, because those two flies are just the worst. So it wasn't terrible, but I remember like not being like how I thought I would feel. So I was definitely a little nervous going into finals, but by the time came around, I remember like being in the warm-up pool, and I was like, all right, like I can do this. Like I just had this feeling. I was like I don't know. It was completely different from the morning, and I just felt like, all right, like it's my time. Like let's do this.
I think any swimmer who has been to a prelims finals meet knows that a good meal and a good nap can make all the difference between a
Definitely.
morning and an evening. Are you a napper in between prelims and finals?
Oh yeah, definitely. I have to have a nap in there, or else like I can't. 2 hours is my limit though, or else I can't fall asleep at night.
I remember, having those nap periods and just like I felt like I could sleep for 4 hours, and then you a lot of the times you would wake up and you're so groggy and you're like, what's happening? Is
Yeah.
wa- was that day for the 200 fly? Was that a good nap? Did you wake up
That-
ready to go?
yeah, that was a good nap. That was a very good nap. Probably it was a well needed nap too.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Do you remember anything about the race or the ready room and marching out behind the blocks for finals?
Yeah, so I remember there was this one girl who was sitting next to me in the ready room, and she had her music and her headphones, and it was so loud, like the whole room could pretty much hear it. And I was just like, okay, just focus on you, like focus on your breathing. Um, and then I remember like me walking out and calling my name, and like all of my teammates were in the stands, like cheering, and I remember diving in and just kind of being in a state of flow almost. And then I remember touching the wall, and I could hear them like announce my name, and so I just remember like smiling and just being so happy.
Yeah. Coming home from that meet, that sounds like a pretty big high. Um, you know, what were your takeaways after having reached those goals, being on the relay, winning a medal, winning two golds on the relay and individually, being a team captain? I mean, that's again seems like a pretty big high.
Yeah, I know everyone always talks about like the post-trip blues, and there were definitely, some post-trip blues, but I think that meet just gave me the confidence that I needed going into 2020. Well, what would have been 2020, but just knowing that, hey, like I can do this, and so just getting back to training was definitely tough coming off of that high, but um, it just it gave me the confidence I think that I needed.
Yeah. Are you someone who normally takes a break at that period? I know junior meets can sometimes be kind of weird because they're so late in August. Are you someone who normally takes a break, and did you take a break after that meet?
Yeah, so normally I take breaks. I think after Budapest, I took about maybe a week or a week and a half. So I know that's probably not super long, but there have been times where I've only taken like 2 days. So it was nice to just kind of recoup and shift my focus to the next season.
Definitely. So moving forward, obviously this season was a bit of a bust. Are you still planning on heading to Stanford in a few weeks? If so, or regardless, what are you thinking in the next few weeks? Do you have any goals moving forward? Do you have focuses now in your immediate future?
Yeah, so I've actually decided to take a gap year this year, just because there was just a lot of uncertainty with this upcoming season, and it just made the most sense for me to take a gap year. It was a really tough decision to make, but we talked it over with Greg and my parents and my club coaches, and we just thought that was the best decision. Because Stanford, they're doing like 2 classes at a time on campus. And so the freshmen and sophomores are supposed to be on campus in the fall, but we still don't even know the move-in date yet. So who knows what's even going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for goals, I'm kind of just taking it day by day and just trying to do all the little things and just Mender Waters and just trying to be the best I can be every day.
Yeah. Are you going to be taking classes of any sort during that gap year, or just focusing on swimming?
Yeah, so I'm planning on taking a couple classes at my community college just to keep my brain functioning.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. So last question or last topic. You talked about you're working on the little things. What would you say your club team's training style is? I mean, are you a team you guys are hitting 6 to 8K on a daily basis? What's what training has worked for you thus far in life?
Yeah, so I've had a couple of coaching changes. So right now my coach, Clayton Cagle, he's more of a we definitely do 6 to 8K per practice. And he likes to build our aerobic base, I guess, earlier in the season. So lots of kind of just general longer freestyle and IM sets. And then towards the end of the season, it gets more specialized. We'll do more fly sets towards the end of the season.
Do you have a favorite practice from this coach or previous coaches that you have really enjoyed or that was memorable for good or bad reasons?
Geez. Coach Cagle, he likes to do we'll do 2100s best average on 2 minutes or something, and those are always tough. And I remember we did one practice where we suited up and we did 5 200s off the blocks, and I remember I did them all fly, and this is short course.
Okay.
And that was definitely a memorable practice for sure.
What all right, what were you throwing down on these 5.2s?
I think the first one I went 201, and then I went 158s for the next 3, and then I think on the last one I went a best time at the time, and I went a 156. So not
bad. For those of you who don't know Lillie Nordmann, we've got a 153.6 200 fly best time. Is that current?
Yeah.
52.0 best as 100 fly. So she's a pretty much a fly expert. So Lillie, any parting thoughts before we close out this conversation?
Not really. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for taking the time to sit down and talk with me. I really appreciate it. You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.